After years of analyzing, I found that sleeping on the left side of your body decreases your resting heart rate by 2 beats per minute, providing an optimal wake-up time and allowing you to wake up 0.03% more rested.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Privacy Academy with Eric Meter.
When I was young, around 11 years old or so, I loved spending my time on video games, especially World of Warcraft. Yep, who would have guessed it? I was a nerd. Now, don't worry, this is not going to be a story time about the time that me and my friends raided Stormwind. Instead, I want to make a point. Back in the day, games like World of Warcraft were non-linear. They were about slowing down and existing inside of the world as if you were actually your character. It was an incredible, fun experience. But over the years, the game evolved and became something that is completely about efficiency. Now it's all about, this is the fastest way to get gold. This is the fastest way to get this mount. This is the easiest way to reach max level, and so on. What used to be a fun, immersive, and relaxing experience has been replaced with an endless efficiency grind, or in other words, a chore. Why am I bringing this up? What does this have to do with privacy? Yeah, the channel is called Privacy Academy after all. Well, it's because the entire world has become efficiency oriented. Every innovation is about how can I make this easier? How can I do this faster? How can I do this without as much waste? And so on. It seems like humans have lost the plot and feel like the point of life is efficiency. Well, I'll tell you what, I do not want to be a worker ant. I like writing, I like thinking, and I like art. I don't think those things should be rushed or outsourced to some ultra-powerful AI. Nowadays, people are actively trading their freedoms for the sake of efficiency as well. Efficiency should not be seen as the end goal of life. I don't even know if it's something that necessarily needs to be desired. Maybe to a certain point, but it is definitely not the end-all be-all. Many peers in my generation feel extremely lost. They feel like they need to be constantly doing things in order to improve themselves, and they don't feel happy or content with where they are. I can't speak on the older generation's behalf because I'm only 26 years old, but when I do talk to the older generations about this, they tell me that is not how they felt when they grew up. They just kind of existed in their day-to-day life without a constant urgency to push themselves further and further, push for more efficiency. This grind mentality usually results in people either one, spending all of their time and energy on trying to achieve perfection and almost going crazy over it, guilty, or two, giving up entirely because they feel too overwhelmed by the competition that they're facing. I've seen both of these cases with my peers. So why has this rush for efficiency happened? Well, there's a few factors, but let me outline what I think the reasons are. First of all, social media. Second of all, high barriers and expectations, both socially and work-wise. And then third, big tech marketing. I'll break this down step by step. First off, let's talk about social media. Social media has gotten an awful reputation throughout the world. People know that it causes terrible side effects in people, but they still don't stop using it, of course, because it's addicting. Social media is not only designed to cause dopamine in its users, but also it's the medium to the social world nowadays. It's what connects people to current news, trends, and even jokes. So what does social media have to do with efficiency? Well, social media is designed to show you the highlights of everyone's life, a fake reality. Sure, some people have done a good job of being real on social media, but generally speaking, you are constantly being judged. Literally. In the past, you would go to social events, you'd make friends, and so on. You didn't have a number attached to you like your followers. You didn't have to compete for attention like the likes on your posts. And worse than that, since people show a fake reality in order to grow, the expectation that people have nowadays is nothing like what it used to be. Kids nowadays feel guilty that they're not ultra wealthy, shredded, and famous. On top of this, social media platforms promote depravity and negative behaviors. The more you are open with the world, the more you get rewarded for it. People love to see other people's drama. People want to judge you. And by being open and sharing as much information about yourself, the more you grow your following. So what does this lead to? Well, they're training the youth to believe that privacy is not a good thing, but rather a negative one. By pushing depravity, people normalize toxic behaviors and cultivate depression and anxiety. Social media is a drug, and I recommend that you get off of it. Second, there's a very high barrier to entry that exists nowadays. Like I said, if you're 18 years old, your Instagram will be filled with other 18-year-olds who are rich, famous, and attractive. Your barrier to entry as a valuable person or partner is much higher even though those things don't really matter as much as your character. If you pair that with apps like Tinder, relationships feel weaker than ever because people know that finding a new person is as easy as downloading an app and sending a few messages. But it's not just happening socially either. The actual barrier to entry for the workforce is getting higher. Let me give you some background on this. I went to culinary school, and I worked as a chef for a while. In the program, they explained that the industry was changing. Instead of restaurants hiring cooks, they would hire much fewer cooks who were proficient in using smart kitchen devices that will do most of the work for them. Many of my friends are still in the culinary industry, and they tell me that they feel the heart and soul of the culinary industry is leaving. Businesses are switched, and now they're focusing on purchasing frozen, ready-made meals that they can use instead of a workforce to make their food from scratch. And this isn't just happening to the culinary industry. Artists, programmers, and accountants are quickly being replaced by AI. The job market is becoming very scarce. This trend will continue as AI grows. And why is this happening? Centralization. Slowly, small businesses are being snuffed out by huge corporations offering convenience. In a society that is becoming both time poor and economic poor, people choose commodity and convenience over artisan products. And that brings me perfectly to point 3, big tech marketing. I just highlighted AI and big tech marketing, and it's true. People are willing to trade everything to have the newest gadgets. It's a mixture of social status and also the fact that big tech corporations are releasing products and services that are so powerful, it's really hard to say no. Why would I hire a graphic designer when AI could do the same thing, if not better, and much, much faster? Why would a restaurant owner scrape by while everyone else is making more money when all of their competitors are using frozen foods? Quickly, the old standard is left in the dust, and a new standard replaces it, a standard of much lower quality than what it was before. With the endless search for efficiency, we're trading what makes life beautiful. And you might be wondering, how did I come to this conclusion? How was I able to see all of these things and tie it together to the root cause, which is efficiency? Well, it's awareness of the world. A lot of the time, political changes can be seen throughout the daily life before it becomes mainstream. It's a great way to predict the upcoming changes and trends. With the centralization and focus on efficiency, we're seeing a vanilla-ization of the world. Cars are black, white, or gray, and it's hard to tell them apart from each other. Copy-paste suburbs and apartment complexes are quickly taking over the US. And if you ask me, what does vanilla-ization look like to me? Well, as someone who spent a lot of time in a post-communist Soviet area, I would say that it looks eerily similar to the communist bloc or communist China. Everything is vanilla, copy, paste, repeat. Just look at these copy-paste suburbs or apartment complexes. It is devoid of all life. Another way you can see political or social change is by studying some of the biggest brands that exist. For example, let's take a look at the luxury brands. From the 2000s till about 2020, designer brands like Louis Vuitton and Gucci went very flashy, and they strayed from their old money status. Their designs were loud, extreme. They partnered with brands like Disney, and they were very colorful. And so why would they do this? Well, they knew that new money was ripe at this time. They knew that their main target was the middle class. But what happened around 2020? Luxury brands switched their style. Slowly, their clothing has gone from flashy and colorful back to their tame old money roots. Well, you could argue that fashion goes through trends, and yeah, that's obviously true, but if you look at it through an economic lens, you could say that these companies are aware that the economy is straying away from the middle class. They know that in times of economic hardship, there are 2 classes, not 3. Instead of lower, middle, and upper, there are only lower and upper. So sure, you can say that everything I'm saying is baseless and speculative. Well, I would disagree with you with the baseless statement, but I would agree with the speculative. I don't have a crystal ball, and I don't know the future, but once you're aware of the world, you can see trends forming socially and culturally before the outcome hits the mainstream reality. The standards set by society are the standards that the society chooses to live under. In capitalism, standards are set by the consumers. With capitalism, small businesses thrive because they're able to compete with large businesses. With regulation, small businesses die and large corporations thrive. In communist or centralized societies, consumers have no say. Instead, corporations have all of the say. So what is the point that I'm getting to with this? We need to fight back against efficiency. And it sounds like it makes no logical sense. Who wants to make their life harder? But this is very important. We need to use our money to feed the freedom community, small businesses, liberty-oriented businesses, and artisans. Globalists want you both time poor and economically poor. That way you are dependent on their systems and their corporations. You need to exit their systems and use your resources to reward ingenuity, real powerful solutions, and like-minded people. So please spread this message far and wide. We're on a limited timeline with this. And as I mentioned, big tech companies are one of the biggest examples of this. And even worse, they are behind the surveillance state. They want to control the information that you receive. They want to lock you into their system of control. They want to ultimately unveil a social credit system of their own. That's exactly why my father and I created Privacy Academy. We want to help average non-techie people learn how to exit the surveillance state and protect their sovereignty. We're holding a free live training this Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can sign up for it with the link in the description of this video. I really recommend that you do. It's one of the best steps you can take to protect a legacy of freedom for our future generations. I hope to see you there. Thank you.